Okay, so this video is going to be an update of sorts. So if you guys remember, if you've been following my channel for a while, I posted a video a couple years ago about the time that we had to fire a customer. And it was pretty much the only time in our entire indoor playground history where I literally had to ban someone for life from the facility. Now, if you want to know all the details, I'm going to link to that video in the description. I highly recommend watching it, especially if you are an indoor playground owner or a prospective indoor playground owner. But essentially, this customer had purchased an unlimited membership and she was way out of line in terms of overstepping her boundaries. She was constantly breaking rules and policies, and she just showed, honestly, a blatant disregard of the boundaries or the feelings of any of our staff members and any of our customers. And unfortunately, this had been going on for months and months and months before I decided to finally sit down and say, okay, this has to change. We have to come to a solution. And unfortunately, we were not able to come to a solution, and we ended up banning this particular the whole family for life. Unfortunately, of no fault of the child, it was 100% the parents' wrongdoing. And I just wanted to give a little bit of an update because at the time I filmed it, we were still open. It was pretty fresh in my mind. And now that I have a new perspective, kind of a couple years down the line, I want to give a little bit of an update and talk about, what I've come to know since then. And I just want to give a little bit of perspective because the person who filmed that video, I was still really nervous about the repercussions of firing that customer. I was unsure if I made the right decision. I go through in great detail in the video about a lot of the mistakes I made when I was speaking to this customer, some mistakes I made on the timing and things like that. So I just wanted to breathe some fresh perspective into that whole situation, because if anybody is dealing with a very difficult customer, I wanted to give you, again, a little bit of perspective a couple years down the line. Because when you're in a really difficult situation, people a lot of time will say, time heals everything. It will blow over. You'll forget about it. But when you're in the thick of it, it's really hard to understand that. So hopefully this will give you a really concrete example of how time really does heal everything and how everything really does blow over. So if you guys remember from that video, again, I'll link to the full video in the description, but when we ended up firing or banning this family from our facility, they threatened to wage a social media war on us. They were going to tell all their friends. They were going to make sure we went out of business. And then the husband actually called us and said that he was going to open up an indoor playground facility down the street from us, and it was already in progress and all of these things. And I remember I actually lost quite a bit of sleep over that. And, this just kind of goes to show you that when somebody is very disrespectful in one aspect of their life. So for example, it was when they were visiting our indoor playground, they were consistently very disrespectful. That tends to carry over into other aspects of their life. So I'm not sure if they just never told anybody that they were banned, or they never executed, whatever social media attack they were going to on us. Or maybe, people kind of knew that they were in the wrong based on their other behaviors in their life, but basically nothing came of it. They were all just empty threats. And if you guys were wondering, no, they never did open that indoor playground facility. It's now almost 3 or 4 years down the line and nothing really ever came of it. And I just really regret losing so much sleep over it. And kind of going back to the mistakes that I talk about in that one video, the biggest mistake that I made, this still rings true today, is I really just should have done it a lot sooner. I was so nervous about standing up for myself. I was so nervous about banning a customer for the backlash, for the potential, hate that I might receive for this. And I was worried that they were going to make good on, whatever threats that they had. But I just wish that I would have done it sooner. And I was worried because this was one of our members. I didn't want other members to feel like they could be banned from our facility if they did, something minor. Obviously, this particular customer didn't do something minor. It was constant repeat offenses. But I just want to kind of go over some tips that I've really been thinking about lately. So really, after this whole firing thing took place, the entire vibe of our entire indoor playground, our customers, our staff, everything really changed for the better. And it took a couple of days to really, take a deep breath and say, oh my gosh, this person was even more toxic to this environment than we even originally anticipated. So Our sales did not deplete. We didn't lose any customers. In fact, our several different members, several different people came up to us after that whole thing happened and said, now I'm going to buy a membership. I am so happy that you feel so passionately about your business, about your staff members, about your other customers, that you're willing to recognize when somebody is being toxic and not respecting our policies, not respecting our staff members, not respecting other parents, not respecting other children. They saw that I cared enough to recognize that. And, I didn't care if I was going to lose her yearly membership revenue. I was fine refunding that and never, accepting money from her again. She was one of our best customers, but it just showed our customers that my priority was them. And, I was willing to put their feelings, my staff's feelings, our environment's vibe, I guess, above making a buck. And that really spoke volumes to our members. And I can't tell you how many people that were regular visitors, I can't tell you how many of them actually ended up signing up for a membership after we banned this particular customer. And that's how negatively this person was impacting our business. And that is one of the reasons why I'm so upset with myself that I didn't take action sooner, that I didn't really put my foot down. I knew that it was causing me a lot of distress. I knew it was causing our manager a lot of distress, but what I didn't really realize, I had kind of blinders on. I didn't realize how negatively her actions were affecting our other customers. So our memberships actually really grew as a direct result of me taking action and protecting my customers' boundaries. Now, something else that I wanted to say is if you are worried about dealing with difficult customers or receiving backlash for banning a family, especially if they are particularly influential on social media or something like that, you don't need to gatekeep your business. You don't need to, be so tough that people are afraid of breaking a simple rule or something like that. How I looked at it after this particular encounter is that if either myself or my manager approaches a customer about breaking a particular rule, about a complaint that we received, about anything that is kind of out of line. So for example, if her child was repeatedly going into the baby area, if I approach her or our manager approaches her or him, moms and dads are totally fair play here, and they are understanding and they are apologetic and they are, seeming like they are, receptive of whatever kind of feedback that we're giving them, that is a good sign. And I will give those people second, third chances as long as I can see that they're actually trying to rectify the situation. Of course, we're dealing with small children who have tantrums, who don't listen always. I have a, 4-year-old nonverbal son who it's very difficult to get him to abide by rules, but darn it, I try my best no matter where we go. So I am the first one to understand, difficult children, difficult situations. So as long as I feel like parents are trying and they're using it as a teaching moment, that is absolutely fine. And I wasn't going to gatekeep those families that were actually trying. When people get defensive or if they are dismissive or if they disregard your policies and just completely ignore your requests or your feedback multiple times, that's when I really started putting my foot down. So once I kind of ripped the Band-Aid and banned this one particular customer, I realized how beneficial it was to my business and how much the customers that did try to respect the boundaries appreciated that, because when they're trying to get their child to do something and another parent is just letting their child completely disregard whatever rule that is, whether it's the baby area, whether it's wearing shoes in the play space, if one parent is just completely disregarding, it makes it very difficult for all of the other parents, for all of the other families in the facility who are trying to do the right thing. So it's all about how somebody responds when either myself or my manager approaches them. So if you're worried about, receiving backlash or anything about gatekeeping or anything like that, that is kind of the gut check. That is the pulse that I like to take before I ever make a decision like that. It's all about the attitude of the parent when we approach them. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope that kind of renewed perspective helps you. Again, I really wish that I would have done it sooner, and I really wish that I would have kind of got out of my own head and stopped worrying about how it was affecting me. And I wish I would have put a lot more emphasis a lot sooner on how it was affecting my customers, because if I really understood that, if I really spoke to people that were visiting our facility frequently, I would have done it a lot sooner, and I would have seen the positive repercussions come a lot sooner, and I would have lost a lot less sleep for a lot less months. So I hope that update was helpful for you. Again, I linked the full storytime video in the description of this video. If you find my indoor playground ownership tips helpful, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I put out a new video every single week. All right, have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching my update.